I feel like I'm on morning announcements in high school. Hi, this is Zen and Sammie, and this is today's morning update.
Hey everybody, we're on the Zen Perry Project today. Today we're here with Sammie Martin. She does music and a whole bunch of other stuff, and we're going to talk about all of that in a second. Wow, that was a lot.
That was really good, though. That was a
good?
solid introduction. Loved that very much.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, my absolute pleasure.
Yeah, you live like 20 minutes away?
I know, the walk over here was quite lovely. I was walking through, strutting down the street, having a nice leather, listening to Paramore. I was feeling good.
You worked today. What do you do?
My day job, I am a neuroscientist. I do research with adults and kids that have a history of seizures. And then by night, it sounds like Batman. That was not intentional, but by night I write songs and play music.
I thought she was a barista.
A barista?
Shit.
I wish I could make lattes. I really can't. Those latte artists.
They got this.
It's a very basic thing to say, but when they come out with full paintings on your coffee, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're like, I could have been a neuroscientist, but this is way better.
Yeah, when I get a brain on my cappuccino, in foam, I'm like, all right, that's much more impressive.
That's very impressive. Yeah. That's a healthy looking brain in that foam right there.
That's exactly. And I see you got is that a new tattoo?
I did get a new tattoo.
Very cool. Are we plugging tattoo artists on this show as well?
His name is Camden, unknown last name, but I've known him for a while, and he's given me a couple tattoos now.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Right
Camden,
on.
might have him on the show at some point.
And now a word from our sponsor, Camden.
Yeah. We'll take $3 for that sponsorship.
Exactly.
Thank you. What the hell do you do in neuroscience?
I study the brain. So I look at changes in the brain that occur in folks that have a history of seizures. What else do? I work with cognitive testing, so we get to talk with folks and kind of assess their memory, language, attentional functioning, things like that. It's very cool, keeps me sane, like the job very much. Love the work-life balance, because I get to do music and have time to myself, which a lot of my friends, colleagues, mentors don't have that same luxury. So if I sip water, will the microphone pick up the loud gulp?
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, there you go, everybody.
There we are.
Of course we're going to get into music.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course. But I could ask about neuroscience for a long time. One last question about it before we move on.
Ask away.
What's the first signs of somebody who needs to go into one of your clinics?
For seizures or for just in general?
So you do seizures, okay. Just in general.
Yeah, so we work with folks that are already admitted through our hospital.
Okay.
And so it's interesting because patients present differently. A lot of the veterans with whom we work, they have a kind of larger history of traumatic brain injury than, let's say, other folks that do not have as unique of a background. So that's very interesting in looking at kind of their post-traumatic epilepsy versus kids that might come in and have a particular disorder that they developed in childhood through no fault of their own. But it's cool to get that unique experience with both of these folks. I wish I had a checklist of saying and now you guys can, present this way and be able to be seen by our cool doctors. But we hope to never see you in that setting.
At what point should I go in? That was my
He's like, can I get brain scanned?
Yeah.
Am I functioning normally? Yes.
Yeah. Am I?
You are, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. From the hat to the button up.
I need to text my mom.
Good, you should. Tell your mom you're doing fine.
I'm doing all right. I got checked out by a neuroscientist.
Yeah, you've been co-signed by a neuroscientist. It's fine.
And she's like, cool, that was very unsolicited.
Message. Exactly, and your mom...
She's like, are you doing okay, actually?
And your mom's like, so you're in the hospital?
Yeah.
Nope, we're just podcasting.
Just podcasting.
It's what comes up on the podcast.
Yeah.
That's the beauty.
On. So where are you from?
I am originally from Boston.
You're from Boston.
Not too far from here. I've been to and traveled to New York many times growing up. Love Boston, die-hard Boston sports fan. So for any of your New York friends, I see the nod back there. Yeah, big Boston sports fan. Big Italian family on my mom's side.
How big?
Pretty big. Like, she has probably 30 plus first
That's
cousins.
how you know it's big.
That's how you know
When
it's
you say
big.
probably.
Oh yeah. My grandfather, I believe, was one of 8, and my grandmother was one of 7.
Yeah,
Or it might be flipped. I'll get yelled at later by my own mom in a you know, an endearing way.
She's going to listen to this?
Depends. We'll see. I'll send it to her for sure. Hi, Mom. Her name is Julie.
Hey,
Rebecca, Julie. Hey, we're doing great.
My
Yeah.
mom won't listen to this. That's fine. I don't think so. Shit.
Moms are our biggest advocates, but they can also be the biggest thorns. But
Yeah.
that keeps us humble.
Isn't that true?
Yeah.
So Boston. Where did you move? Do you stay in Boston most of your life? Like what?
I did, yeah. I grew up in Boston for most of my life. Went to school, did my undergrad in Boston. Lived in Madrid for a bit, which was really nice. Studied there for a bit. Love that city. Could talk about it for days and days and days.
Favorite part of Madrid?
Oh gosh,
What'd you like doing there?
So when I was there, I was much younger in years, so we definitely had fun going out and seeing live
How old
music,
are you?
I'm 28. How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 29. All right. Okay,
So
okay.
we're around the same age. I was younger, which means I had a bit more energy, so that kind of going out
I
phase
don't think
of my
I can
life
handle even
was...
more energy.
Zen, for context, everyone, he played on one of my tracks. He played drums on I Can't Lose Me to You. And we met for the first time. We're getting to, I'm jumping the gun on how we met.
Yeah.
But this is the second time we've seen each other in person. So the fact that I've left this impression on him for how much energy I have, I'm very proud. I'm very proud of that.
I love that.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Madrid. Madrid, back 1980s, back when you were
In
young.
the 1980s. Yes, when I was a fetus. Gosh. No, I mean, let's see. My favorite part. I loved being with my friends, and I loved going out to see live music, go to the discotheques. Yes, of course, very fun. But honestly, my favorite place is the park. There's a park there called Parque Retiro, which is so beautiful. You walk through. It is so well manicured, but just very scenic in that way. Everyone is just very friendly. They have they sell books in their kind of stalls throughout the park. It's a really beautiful place to go, and I remember going there a lot with my friends and just doing park hangs, which for Brooklynites we all know we all value our park hangs. So that place was really awesome. I would say that's my favorite place.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
very sentimental.
Very sentimental to you.
Yeah.
So you just picture it in your mind when you want to go back to a good spot.
Oh yeah.
Better
Absolutely.
park. That's a better park than anything you've ever been to in Brooklyn.
I think so, because the best part too is what their equivalent of bodegas. They would sell what's called tinto de verano, which is basically wine bottled with lemonade, but it is €1, and it is so good. You can just go, picture the weather being 75 degrees, it's sunny, you hear the Spanish guitar in the background through the park, you're just you're walking through, you're living your vida loca, and you're having such a lovely time with your friends, and then you just have this drink that you can buy for €1, you eat food, it's just, you feel full on life and food. And tinto de verano, so
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's really nice.
All right, let's go back again.
Group trip to Madrid. Let's do a gig in Madrid.
A gig in Madrid. Where? How did you move to New York City? What was your plan
My
or all
catalyst?
that? Yeah.
My plan. I had always wanted to move to New York. I love the pulse of the city. Boston truly is, I will consider it home forever. But New York is such a vibrant, unlimited city. And I knew growing up, I was I'm going to end up in New York at some point. Not just for music, but for the openness and the pulse that comes with being in a major city. And I think Boston really prepped me super well for New York, because even though the bars close at 2, it's kind of the training ground for New York City. And so you got similar people, so you kind of get the pace of life, but then you realize that you can have whatever interests you want, do whatever you would like, and you will find like-minded people. So I knew I was going to end up here. It just happened and the timing was right, because I came here for grad school. And so I said, I'm of the age where I'm an adult now. I have the ground underneath my feet, my little baby wings, and it felt really nice to come here. Yeah,
Okay.
felt like the right time.
There you go. When did you start playing music?
Oh, wow. Okay, so one of my earliest memories, I think, is when I'm like 3 or 4 years old. I come from a really musical family. So my grandfather on my mom's side, he used to sing in the West End, which doesn't even exist anymore in Boston, but in the West End Playhouse. And he had this kind of Frank Sinatra crooner style to his voice. And he's a beautiful singer. And he used to be in a group with his brothers called the 4Js. And so growing up, I would constantly hear him singing, but also be kind of encouraged through him to sing. My grandfather on my dad's side was a singer. He toured with like a bunch of choirs throughout Europe in his life. Super, like, in the best way, like very artistic, very flamboyant, very like life is full of grandeur, and that definitely gave me a bit of the like theatricality. But yeah, and then my dad is a trumpet player, and so growing up, it was a really nice integration to just be constantly surrounded by music and be like encouraged to pick up an instrument and play along, even if I was really young and at the time like not very good. But yeah, so I think from very early on, it was like a soft but definitely steady integration into music.
Did your families meet? Did your grandparents ever play music together?
I wish, no. So my dad is originally from LA and my mom is from Boston, and they met when my mom was out living in LA, kind of living her equivalent of my New York life now back in the 80s. And if you think my personality has a lot of energy, I'm kind of a mix of my parents. So my mom is just pure energy. So God, I love her. And to be fair, got my music taste through her.
We should have her come out.
Oh, she would love that, and then she'd move in, and you'd be like, I swear we only invited her out for one episode.
That's why I can't have my mom stay here.
That's fair. Or your mom would come out and be like the life of the party, and you're like, oh my God, they love her more than they love me, you know?
She does cook better.
That's fair. I wish I could cook.
Yeah, you can't cook?
I can make paella.
Wait, so you have like 2 Italian families?
I do. Well, I have an Italian family on my mom's side, and then my dad is Spanish and Bohemian. So like Czech Republic area.
They cook
South
too?
Germany. Yeah, but I can make paella and like tortilla de patata and enough food to like sustain me.
Two things I know nothing about. Sounds great.
I mean, I know nothing about cooking, so Rebecca, give us a call.
That's great. Really. Yeah, so these 2 huge families, they were playing music. You were doing that. So when was your first time ever like playing anything live or in front of somebody?
That's a good question.
From family or whatever.
Yeah, so I think the first time that I ever played something live of my own or just in general?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first time that I played something live, I believe, I did like a lot of theater growing up and I think being invested in music that way, but I used to kind of sit in every once in a while with my dad. I remember this like sitting in when I was like 14 at this pub up in Newburyport when he was playing some jazz, and I don't even remember the guy on the track, but I can hear it where it's like concert in B flat, like a 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then like the jazz starts. I fall asleep and like wake up to that man's voice, and I'm like, what's his name?
Yeah.
But he would
cold sweat.
Exactly, like cold sweat, like where is he? Like he's in the walls. I swear I'm not crazy, but you know when you've heard it over the years, it's just embedded deep in your brain. I would know. So I remember that. I remember performing with him along to some jazz tracks and kind of freestyling. I think that gave me the breadth of my ear training, which I really, really appreciate and would never trade for the world.
So 14 in a pub.
Yeah, and then I think live music with other folks. When I was 18, we had kind of a like senior showcase, and I played, Nothing But the Water by Grace Potter and the Nocturnals with a few, Michael's smiling in the background. It's an awesome song, and Grace Potter's an amazing vocalist and performer, and has perfect pitch, which is just like truly astounding to me. but I played with these fine gentlemen, Lars, he changed his name, on bass, Alex on keys, and Kyle, I think, on drums. And it was so fun, and it was really cool because a lot of my friends knew I did music, but most of my classmates didn't, because it's unless you're surrounded by the folks that are also in music, it doesn't really come up.
Or you tell them constantly.
Yeah, as you constantly remind them, hey, I do music. Yeah. That's probably how I should have done it, but it was really cool to see people, see people's faces, and me coming out with my Les Paul and just playing the guitar with these guys, and we were having a great time jamming out and getting off stage and then being like, I'm sorry, you play music and you can sing like that, and I was like, oh yeah. So that was really fun. That's probably the earliest memories.
Okay, so then you wanted to make music in general. When did you start when were you start writing songs? When did you start doing all that good stuff?
Yeah, I started writing songs when I was maybe 14 or 15. They were very singer-songwriter, very heavily inspired by, there's a joke in Ted Lasso of the female singer-songwriters that are trying to get all the puppies in the US adopted. So Sarah Bareilles, Sarah McLachlan, all of those. So it was very Lilith Fair inspired singer-songwriter vibes, and very much teenage angst and longing. But it also, I think, opened me up to a really interesting niche of lyrics being at the forefront of music, and then that balanced out, I think, a lot of the music taste that I got from my mom and my uncle, who was kind of inundating me with yes, 80s music from my mom, but Prince, and yes, Madonna, Michael Jackson, so that very kind of dance-related music. My uncle used to inundate me with British rock, hard rock, so it was a really interesting balance to kind of put lyrics at the forefront. And then from there, I just kept writing over the years, and it was something that has continuously grown in me that I want to kind of put at the focal point. Yeah.
So you recorded some music together.
We did record some music together.
Well, not actually together, but
bi-coastal,
bi-coastally, just really far apart, actually.
Should we tell them now that this is the second time we've met in person ever?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the second time we've met in person ever.
Yeah.
Michael knows because he is the fabulous gent that...
Michael Maverick Lieber over there.
The cool producer of this show.
Yeah, he's killing it.
Killing it, crushing it.
Yeah, so far very well produced.
Very well produced.
The lighting, video cinematography.
Astounding. The tablecloth.
Yeah, tablecloth.
Just very ethereal. I loved space growing up. I'm gonna just...
Not so much
Did
anymore.
you buy this for me? Thank you. No.
The final frontier.
The final. It's the final countdown. No.
So yeah, we recorded together.
We did record
also
together.
Michael recorded on this track as well.
Yes, on "I Can't Lose Me to You," which was.
Who were you singing about in that song?
Who was I singing about? Oh, okay. So it's kind of a mixture of people that I'm singing about. And I purposefully, and somewhat annoyingly, left this explanation open-ended for the longest time because I wanted until now, because I wanted people to listen to the song and kind of imprint their own relationship dynamics onto it and be like, oh, I think she's singing about this person. I think she's singing about this person. Because to me, the best conversations I've had about that song are when people have come up to me and been like, I think you're singing about this person and here's why. And then it kind of spins into so who is this person to you? And I learned so much about the person that I'm talking to when they're giving the opinion about who the song is about. So it's a mixture of folks and relationships that I've had over the years where I've tended to kind of quiet the parts of myself, like we all do, for the sake of the relationship. And then I remember being in a kind of end of relationship discussion with someone, and me hearing this person say, I just wish you were able to prioritize me more, and me replying with, I love you, but I can't lose myself to you. And then I was like, okay, and went and sat down after that, and the lyrics kind of just poured out. And so, yeah, it was me kind of writing out my frustrations to this person. So the line of like, I love you, I can't lose me to you, and you shouldn't want me to, definitely comes from somewhere deep within, and someone deep inside me that's like, I'm coming out and I'm coming back, don't worry, like, I'm still here.
Right.
But I'm coming back to the forefront, so.
So it's just an amalgamation of people, but a very specific person.
I mean, yeah, it definitely came about. And funnily enough, it wasn't a relationship that was a very long one. It just was a relationship that needed to happen in my life when it did, for me to kind of have the switch flip and be like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm also a person that has value and worth. And I'm reintroducing myself to me.
Look at you go.
Very philosophical, you know?
Very philosophical.
But yeah.
So we recorded this song across the whole United States, as you said.
Indeed.
And that was
Are we
cool.
allowed to sip alcohol on this podcast?
I've been doing it.
Okay? I didn't know. They kindly enough offered me a white claw.
Producer says it's good. Yeah.
Producer says it's okay. Just wanted a sip.
Yeah.
The mango white claw, and sponsorship here, is very delicious. But
other
yeah,
things.
we recorded bi-coastally.
When was that? Is that 2021?
I think so.
Yeah,
it was still pandemic years.
Yeah, it was kind of pandemic-y out there, out in the world.
I was really happy that you agreed to record the drums too, because I had obviously done like a semi-deep dive on your background and how much you have recorded, and not just for your own projects, but for other folks' projects as well, and across genres. So I was really, really happy that you were like, yeah, I like the song a lot, let me do it. So thank you for making the drums sound so good.
It was a fun song.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it was just cool to see like how like inspired you were on it, and it had like a bunch of cool changes in it. You had a whole vibe for it. You knew what you wanted, which some people aren't very good at explaining stuff, and you got it.
Must be wild for you too, because if you're playing on like, have you ever been in that situation?
Oh.
More often than, oh no.
You want a quick story?
Oh yeah, who are you thinking of in particular, or is it an amalgamation of people?
I won't say the band out loud, but this one band I was in, we were getting ready for a show at a festival, actually, and I was like, dope, I'm playing a festival with these people, they're going to be on it. And she's like, I want you to make this chorus sound like Stardust. And I was like,
okay.
I looked at my drum set and I'm like, okay, I don't know. I don't have a Stardust.
Plug-in time.
Yeah, I don't know what she mean. And she was very dead set on like Stardust. And I'm like, okay, that's not an answer.
Right.
That's not English. But I appreciate you trying to explain things to me. I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I would be like, so big, like cavernous, like what are we like it just explodes and the sound's over there on like, what is that, I-95? Like what are we?
Well, and like for the most part, drums are binary. Either they're on or off. You hit them or you don't. Of course, there's a musicality in artistry too. Any instrument, drums included. I'm not talking shit on drums, just saying.
Sure.
It's either on or off.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. And I think she thought I did okay. But we played that festival, and I don't think they ever played that much after that, and that was it. But whatever.
Tune in next week for the episode called Stardust.
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 How to make a chorus sound like Stardust.
It's the dust of stars.
I think it just played a very straightforward beat, and it was like dope. I'm like, all right, if that's what you think Stardust sounds like, that'd be more like
That's funny.
impressive. But here you go.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, that's awesome. That's really cool.
But yeah, in general, it's like I just love people like actually doing their stuff. And I've been talking to Jake about this. Jake's been on the podcast a million times. So
Very cool.
if you're just listening for the first time, Jake DeKeo, he's a photographer, a musician, artist, great guy. But we were talking about just doing the productions, like actually sitting down and like getting the people together for making a production happen.
Sure.
Because that's when everything happens. And Jake and I have been, as you may or may not know, have been really enjoying New York City lately. Because we moved here not that long ago. Really getting the most out of it. But at the same time, have not done a huge amount of artistic pursuits. Just because there's a lot of stuff to do.
It happens, yeah.
And people keep on saying that, like, yeah, you're not going to want to stay out till 5 o'clock in the morning. They're like, give it a few months. And I'm like, when is that coming? Because I'm so tired. Like, I don't know how.
How many months have you been here?
Since February, so 5.
5, okay. Once you get through the summer, as soon as the cold weather starts to come back, you are going to be like, okay, I feel it in my bones. I'm tired.
Yeah. And I agree. So, but making those productions happen, making these things happen, is like such an important thing to do. And it's also like when you get to meet people, and that's like when you get to like make the whole connection thing happen for music or art, whatever you're doing, videos or whatever. This chair is so creaky. And what's cool about this is like you actually had some stuff come of this project that you did afterwards. Are you able to talk about that now?
You mean the project after I Can't Lose Me to You?
Yeah, didn't you have something come up in LA?
So I'm not able to fully talk about it yet, but I have, or rather, because it's still in the kind of staging process, and I will definitely take the more humble approach that this experience coming up, hopefully, in LA is going to be one that's me learning a lot about the collaborative writing process, because up until this point, I've done lyrics on my own, and I've done instrumentation on my own. So I can play instruments, I can play, not as well as Zen, but I can play like basic drum rhythms on my, MIDI, and then writing music is, I can't read music, but I can write music because it's math. And so as long as I kind of understand in my head what I want for a particular instrument, I can either play it with my guitar, I can kind of like tap it out with my drum pads, and then I have like a lot of fun with bass lines, writing bass lines. So for this experience coming up in LA, this is going to be kind of putting together writing, lyrics, music. Yeah, it's going to be a very cool learning experience, and I cannot wait to see what the process is of writing with people and just observing professionals that do this for a living and are quite successful at it, how they go about this process in writing for what's called sync. So like song placement in like TV or film, or let's see what else. Like, I guess way back when they would call it jingles, but I'm probably not the person to summarize this too well, but like if you hear any TV show, Russian Doll is a really, I love that. Show. I love that TV show. So whoever, places those particular songs throughout particular scenes of the show, there are folks that will do that or write for sync specifically and try to get songs placed. Russian Doll was a bit different though, because they already used like well-established songs. But yeah.
I think they had Royal Jelly by Deep Valley.
Yeah, they also had a song by Pussy Riot, and that's how I knew. I was like, wow, this is an already astounding like show and their music selection. And then when I heard Pussy Riot, I was like, okay, I need to know who their music supervisor is. This is incredible. Their musical depth is just
that's rad.
Awesome.
I mean, how did you get approached by this person that you're not allowed to talk about?
No, so I didn't get approached. I ended up cold calling, or rather cold emailing another individual who was a music supervisor of a show that I really liked, and ended up sending them I Can't Lose Me to You and asking for feedback. And I didn't expect anything to come from it. I honestly didn't think this person was going to respond to the email because they were quite busy. And I didn't hear anything for several weeks, so I forgot about it. And then I ended up getting like a 3 to 4 paragraph email back where she was like, I was playing your song for some friends at dinner, and I want to connect you with this songwriter in LA that I think is really great and would be good for like mentorship. And I can talk about her, Hope Thal. She's really cool, and she has her own music projects out. Bloom is an album that she just released, which is very, very good, and it's on Spotify and Apple Music, I think. But she has been a really amazing resource and person to talk to and get advice from about this process, and what it means to not only write for sync, but answering questions that I think I would be too scared to ask in any other setting that you kind of feel like you're a really, really small fish in the room. And I think the best part about talking with her is that like no question is off limits. And so I didn't really know much about the process before speaking with her, and she answered everything from like my very basic questions all the way up to what is it like to collaborate, and can I come and sit in on a session? So she's really awesome, and I could sing her praises for a very long time. So
wow, that's really cool. So she's really connected you up.
She has given me advice. She has given me.
Yeah, I'm not saying there's any $500,000 contract or anything like that coming out. I'm just saying like
she's given me
you get to see what's actually happening in this world.
Absolutely, she has given me the opportunity to learn, and that is, I think, the best thing that I could ask for right now.
There you go.
You know?
Yeah. What do you want to do with this?
I would love to write. To be honest, I would love to write songs for bands. That would be, I think, my main kind of niche. My upbringing was rooted very much in the musical. Index is kind of the understatement, but Goffin and King, Jerry Goffin and Carole King are, I think, the singer-songwriter Bible, for lack of a better term. And it's really, really interesting and cool to hear people talk about songs even now and realize that, or rather, let me start that sentence over. They talk about songs now that I'm like, that was a Goffin and King song. Like, it was sung by the Cookies, or it was sung by the Shirelles, it was sung by, they wrote a song, I think, for the Stones really early on. So it's really cool to see how their music has transcended decades in time, but how it was just so foundational to pop music. And so I took that kind of template, and it's kind of my blessing and my curse. That's where my, idea of songwriting for bands began and ended up until I started talking with Hope, because I was still in the kind of Tin Pan Alley type days where people would go into large buildings and write songs, and Goffin and King would be in one room, and then you would have Cynthia Weil in another room, and so that's where I thought, or how I thought the process still works, and it doesn't. And so the dream, though, is still there to write for bands and to write for artists. And so it's really cool to see how that has evolved from, I guess, then to now, and try to figure out how I fit into that.
Why would you want to write music for bands?
I think there is a particular courage and unique artistry that comes with being able to present and market either yourself or your band as kind of a product, but also to be able to significantly impact as many people as songs in our lives have. I think that's the major draw for me, and I think that's the major draw for most people when they listen to music. For whatever reason, our songs are our favorite songs because we have some form of emotional connection to them, whether they be we got married and that was our wedding song, or whether it's you were 15 and trying to figure out your identity and kind of feeling very isolated in a world that you realize may be not necessarily fully shaped for you or welcoming to you in the way that you want. Or, you're going through divorce or heartbreak. We all have kind of these songs that we gravitate to and really root us in our feelings and our emotions. And so I think the interface of writing for someone that has the ability to do that is just a unique experience that I would love to be a part of.
Yeah. I feel like you should write a song for people to get married to. I think that would be your jam, and you would kill it.
Thank you. I feel like, it's so funny because everyone, and it's still to this day, like the wedding song that everyone thinks of, or at least like a lot of mainstream pop is like that Ed Sheeran song, Thinking Out Loud. Do you know that is still like one of the most popular wedding songs in the US?
It's not even that old.
It's not even that old, but it has like 2 billion streams or something, like on YouTube, and it's one of the most like popular songs like for weddings and like young love or whatever. It was just, I was like, wow, great song, like very well constructed, very like good hook, good like guitar, great music video.
For another one.
Yeah, exactly. Divide is out now. I haven't listened to Divide yet.
Every freaking wedding I go to, I hear it.
That and Shout.
That and Shout.
You know what? I think I'll write this Shout equivalent. It will be called Whisper.
Okay. Oh, there you go. What are the lyrics of Shout? What's like the main part of it?
Something, you make me want to shout.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I'm not talking. That's like walking down the aisle thing.
Oh,
that's what I'm talking
okay.
about. Like a.
What would be your walking down the aisle song?
I'm not gonna get married, but I appreciate
That's
that.
fair. No, just like if you had to write one.
If I had to write one, oh man, something like I probably will stay married to you.
I love immediately the head bob of like hard, like an emo, like Fall Out Boy, like a little less 16 candles, like I will. You have like Joe spinning in the background.
This is as a drummer speaking,
Yeah, I saw the drummer head like immediately start to go.
It's like I have a rhythm, I have zero anything else.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Just make it weird. Put like a mellotron on it. Mix some weird instruments together, just out of left field, like mellotron, vuvuzela. Do whatever.
Yeah, a theremin.
Yes. Why the heck not? Exactly.
Yeah.
That's Stardust Lake. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. I don't even know where the fuck we got this.
I don't know. We're just spitballing here.
No, I meant this. But yes, that.
No, this.
What's your connection between neuroscience and freaking music? What overlaps? Because you talked about math earlier. You're like, I can't read. I don't know how to read, but I know how to.
I don't know how to read. I am literate. I swear I'm literate. I can't read music. I swear I'm literate. This makes me think of that SNL skit with Ana de Armas where they're like talking to a music producer and he's like, ooh, like Young Spicy can read, but he struggles with math. Like trying to figure out a tag like Mike Will made it. Oh God. That is correct. I cannot read music. I swear I'm literate, people. That is correct. So the connection between neuroscience and music, I think, if I'm being completely honest, there are so many folks in my life that are pure creatives that I love how much pours out of them artistically. But they have a hard time trying to focus that energy. Yeah. Through like no fault of their own, and this is not like a good or bad character judgment. It's just some of the most creative, talented people. I'm like, if you had the kind of energy focus, you are a ball of ideas and of talent and artistry and creativity that you could genuinely like change the landscape of whatever medium you're trying to make a name for yourself in. So I think where neuroscience has really helped me is that has given me the discipline to be very observational about my music and very kind of technically disciplined in how I put music together. So even though the songs that I have out now are more kind of demo and I did the mixing and mastering, so it's not perfect by any stretch. It's definitely, you can see the improvement in each of my tracks that have been released, but the learning curve is definitely there. But I think the interface of the two is that it's given me the discipline to channel my creativity in a way that's productive. And then the opposite is like, I think outside the box very alinearly when I do my job. And that has only come about because I understand that music is this alinear process and no idea is off limits. And so answering questions for my day job is gives me the opportunity to think creatively, but then neuroscience and my day job will give me the kind of discipline and linearity that I need to get stuff done. So I think that's how they
when I
kind
have
of
time
interface
to
the
do
most.
it, I can make this music.
Yeah.
This is how I want to put it out. I have this amount of time. Yeah.
And Zen, because I'm sure you have 1,000 New York stories, like it is, even in the 5 months you've been here, it is hard to discipline yourself in an adult playground like New York, where you can get very distracted very easily, for very good reasons. But it is so good. And they've led to some
amazing
non-sharing experiences on this podcast, as I readjust my Niles Crane t-shirt. But it is it is a great place to be, but it can definitely be very distracting if you don't have the kind of...
I agree.
Yeah. Which you do, so he does.
I'm so disciplined.
He's so disciplined. He's doing all the jobs.
Good. We're doing a podcast
We're doing a podcast right now. Look how disciplined we are. I got here on time. Zen had food, drinks, waiting. Michael has been the consummate producer. You did, but I fed myself beforehand. See, it's that juxtaposition.
We left you a garlic knot. We're like, you left
me a garlic knot. Yeah, I definitely feel like Pete Wentz from Fall Out Boy now. When he's drinking that juice, they're like, we've kept his vampirism at bay. And it's that weird 9-minute music video where he's drinking what looks like Kool-Aid mixed with garlic chunks. And I was like, they definitely thought of this in a fever dream or in some basement in Iowa in 2003, but oh well.
Good year.
Great year.
Where were we?
Who knows? Who knows anymore? Who knows? I feel in my brain the way that this tablecloth looks, and I swear I've had nothing but a quarter of a White Claw. So.
It's been a very trippy day today. We went on
Has it?
We went on a run as well. You went on a run.
I did.
We went on a run through the graveyard right over here, and Jake and I were running along, and we went as far as we could in the graveyard because it's massive. This graveyard up in Bushwick is
humongous.
It's as big as
we'll
Central
bleep
Park.
That out later.
That giant graveyard.
That giant.
They're both giant.
Yeah, exactly.
And we came to a corner, and there was a tree that was on fire from the inside. Middle of this graveyard, nobody around.
Sorry, what?
This tree was on fire from the inside of it, and the fire was coming out of the tree.
I'm sorry, is this a biblical, Moses and the burning bush type deal?
I don't fucking know.
Or a demon? What's going
I don't know. And so this happened, and we were running, and neither of us had our phones on us. We're like, that tree's on fire, and nobody around. So we kept on running, and we saw a guy at work. They were like, hey, there's a tree on fire. He's like, what? Can't hear you, with the lawnmower or whatever. And we were like, tree's on fire. He's like, there's a tree on fire? And we're like, yeah, it's over there. It's you see all that smoke. He's like, thanks. And he just walks, and we just
He's like, Virginia, I hardly know ya.
Yeah. So that was our run today, and it was just
that's wild.
Very serendipitous, weird day. So just this trippiness of everything going on,
in complete juxtaposition. I ran in Central Park and next to the Balto statue.
How
that
was that?
dog. Well, I mean, it didn't catch on fire, so I think it was a-okay.
What's the Balto statue?
It's that dog that I think we might need to tag in for Google. I think it's the dog up in Alaska that rescued all those people. Yeah?
I don't need Google.
You don't need Google?
It's Balto. Balto famously saved a village with
Himself.
medicine or something on his collar.
Okay. But isn't there a movie that was made about it?
Yeah, there's a Disney.
And isn't it tragically sad? I heard literal, ugly, chortling sobs coming from my roommate's room, and I was like, something's wrong. And I knocked, and I was like, are you okay? She's like, I'm watching Balto. I was like, oh my God. Okay.
About that dog in the park?
Yeah. So he didn't catch on fire. He looked like he, was a happy dog.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
No tree.
Why is she crying?
Something happens, we don't want to give it away, but I think the dog doesn't make it. Does the dog not make it?
I'm gonna say no spoilers.
Okay. I think it might have been something sad
Any
like
movie
that.
with a dog, it's a binary system. Either it
Right.
dies or it doesn't.
Or
And
it plays basketball.
And one of them is a shitty movie where it lives, and then the other one is a tragically sad movie that people feel like they need to watch before they need to get a good cry out.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Or John Wick.
Or it's John Wick.
I guess John Wick was the third case.
See, I'm really in the Cuba Gooding Jr. Snow Dogs or Airbuds category, like basically where the dogs play some form of a sport or...
Air Bud.
Yeah,
That movie was great.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Oh, man.
And they have like 9 of them, so whatever sport you like. Yeah, I thought there's like 9 Airbuds.
There's 9 Air Buds?
I have to look that up, but I
Okay,
think so.
well, they lost me at the first. Well, that's cool. So music. What do you got going on next?
What do I have going on next? So I just released...
Yeah, you just did like some. Okay. No,
Okay.
I remember. I'm a professional.
Okay.
You
Yes.
do things with your music that make cool things happen in the world. Tell me about that.
That is the plug for and the intro to your podcast. You make cool things happen with your music in the world. I liked that a lot. I think that should be on loop.
Yeah.
Put a little like electronic rock in the background or like some bleep bloop bloop bloop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beep, boop, beep, boop.
Beep, boop, beep, boop.
Yeah.
Yes, so I use my personal music projects to raise funds and awareness for organizations that I care about. So for I Can't Lose Me to You, I raised $1,100 for the Transgender Education Network of Texas and the ACLU Florida in response to what's been going on in those respective states. And keeping it light, we all know what's going on in those respective states. So I won't go there, but the other 2 songs that I released, Men and Women, I used to bring awareness to and funding to pro-reproductive health services for women in the U.S. And like abortion care networks. And then for women, I used it to bring awareness to the Iranian Revolution. Those songs are not written about those themes, and I want to make that clear that it's not a kind of commandeering of those particular issues, but it felt like a good time to use music as a way in which to bring attention to those 2 very important causes and revolution, respectively. And then the music, the song that I just released, Summer, is a single that's going to be off of a larger album that I'm coming out with, which will have 8 or 9 tracks. I'm kind of sitting with the last one and trying to see if I can do some rearrangement of a particular line and some changes in the mix to see if it will sit a bit better. But that was a really awesome song because that's very like pop chill rock, like or rather pop, indie pop chill, like the California chill. And it's called Summer, so it has the very like summery type vibe. And that was really lovely because I've been using that to bring awareness to the Finding a Cure for Epilepsy and Seizures Foundation, which I'm running the New York Marathon for that foundation. So, yeah, so it's been a really cool time. And so...
How do you go about the avenues for somebody else who's listening to put your music out and also bring awareness to these things as well as like gain funding for this?
Yeah.
Like, what are your steps you've done with 2, I would say, successful ventures in that?
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, so I reach out definitely over social media, and I post a lot on social media, particularly Instagram. Spotify, I also do updates on Spotify regarding, fundraising amounts and the organizations that I'm bringing awareness to. I do reach out directly to like friends and family and have, a mailing list, a fan base list that I'll send updates out to regarding those organizations and music. And then I kind of will bring it when I have a song release. I will send music, like I'll send you the track for free oftentimes before the release date, so if you donate to a particular cause. And so the main goal is to say, like, we all love music. I'm putting out what I think is, decent music that people enjoy listening to. And I will engage with you, absolutely, if you engage with me. And kind of take a few minutes out of your day to just hear about something that is really important, but you might not think about every day.
There you go. That I think that's the way to do it in general. Like, yeah, there's a lot of things going on, and I think music can be used as that sort of like frontier in general. Because Also, at the end of the day, it's like we're all here. We're all humans. We all need things.
Yes.
And there's people very less fortunate than us. And getting to create music and put it out is a luxury.
Yes.
In general. So, like, helping other people in that process is definitely the way to go if you can do it.
Definitely, yeah. And it's very cool because music is like such an interesting tool to be able to say what you want to say, but in a way that can be really universal.
Yeah.
And like someone asked me this the other day. They were like, "Do you think like all art is political?" I'm like, for the most part, yes. Because if you think about how much music is coming out from folks that come from different backgrounds related like to identity, like genres of music, just kind of how those intersect with their lives, like, yeah, a lot of times when I'll sing about, you know, a song and it has a very queer angle on it, I know that me kind of putting that out there is going to automatically be political, and me singing about those themes are going to be political in some ways. Even if that is not my intention, other people will commandeer it and make it political.
Yeah, so you're like, might as well just call it political.
Well, yeah, and I'm like, by default, if you know what I mean, like it's a political statement or it's a social statement.
And in general, you're just trying to make a love song.
Yeah,
Or,
and like
or
a
a not love song.
marriage song with a Bubuzuela and like I know I did that for a Bubuzuela. Yeah, exactly. But we all love good music, so
Yeah.
we're all here, we're all happy. Look at Mike in the background. How are we doing, Mr. Producer? Rad?
What do we have, big Maverick over there, time-wise?
2 more minutes on the video.
Do we? Is this a type of podcast where we like do like the hot sauce? You know what I mean? Like, is there like some dare at the end, or like you watch us eat like a spicy pepper?
Do you want to?
I mean, like I'm just kind of feeling out the.
We have a few more questions.
Okay,
but honestly,
let's do it.
I'm kind of for future things. We'll restart this in a sec. But for future things, I would love to get a little like hot fire question session of some sort.
I don't mean to invite myself back, but if you would like to have me back, I'm very happy to do some funny.
Yeah.
This is
I'll bring a scorpion chili. For both of
Ooh,
us.
okay.
One for each of us.
Okay.
And then I'll forget mine, and then we'll be like, camera's rolling, let's go.
It'll just be me eating a scorpion. All right, I'll bring the 9 gallons of water.
Alright, we're gonna start this and
I'm
then.
gonna pause it there.
No.
It's at like 29. Stop.
I know, it's being a little fucking weird today.
Alright, there we go.
And we're back.
Oh, we can get it better than that. Ready? 3, 2, 1. No? What? 3, 2, 1. Purposely was off by an 8. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, one more time.
No. Boo.
Boo! Oh,
Okay.
God.
What gives you the most doubt about your music, or like what has inhibited you from maybe creating more music than you would like to?
That's a really good question. I think logistically, time. The one thing that I really admire about folks like yourself is that you have a day job that is in line with your interests outside of like audio production and some of the jobs like you were telling me about. And so you are just constantly surrounded by creative people and by music, even if, for example, you're not solely working on your project or someone else's project on which you're playing drums. So for me, I think there is a particular courage that comes with that commitment that I don't necessarily have, and I don't mean that in a bad way towards myself. It's just my parents were very encouraging about me pursuing music, but there was definitely a balancing act between being able to support yourself financially through a more pragmatic lens and being able to pursue art as the kind of main thing. And so I will say, like, it gives me the benefit of having, a job and a salary, and I'm very grateful for that. But I think being able to write maybe and kind of produce music 5 to 6 hours if I really sit down once I get home and just say, okay, I'm not doing anything else, 5 to 6 hours a day is very different from folks that will do it professionally for like 10, 12, 14 hours a day. But the biggest doubt I think that I would have, I think it's the question, why me? As in, there are so many people out there that have incredibly good ideas that the area of improvement that I need to work on is how to market myself as, and my songs as the selling point. So I think I was asked this question the other day by another songwriter, is like, why me, why my music? And I've just been replying with, well, why not? Not thinking that that's the end-all be-all of my answer, but trying to figure out and kind of be rooted in that confidence to put myself forward and say, this is what makes me unique. This is what I think is the kind of niche that I have and can fill within music. And then being able to really bring that to the table as a legitimate thing. I think that would be, yeah, my biggest doubt. That's a really good question. I've never been asked that before.
Welcome
Inspiring.
to the show.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Now would be the time where you cut to that like meme of that guy being like, and then I go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. Now stop thinking about it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And what is your idea of success? Just in general. Not talking about music, just in general.
Being happy within myself and confident within myself. Having friends in my life that I can laugh with endlessly and feel very supported bidirectionally, as in I support them and they support me. And then in terms of success, there is, of course, a professional element. I would love, and I'll plug right now because there's nothing to lose, I would love to learn from. There are songwriters that I have in mind, for example, like Hope, but also when we kind of go up the tiers of songwriters, I mean, Sarah Bareilles is, I think, one of the most profound songwriters of our generation. And she kind of, for folks that don't know her, get pigeonholed, like she gets pigeonholed a lot when people go, oh, who is she? And everyone knows the song, I'm not gonna write you a love song cause you asked for it. Yeah, Michael's nodding in the background like, oh, I know that song. That song is awesome, but she has such a breadth of work for her independent, her independent albums. And then in her late 30s, transitioned into writing full scores and songs for musical theater. So Waitress, which is a very successful musical, was a musical that she wrote the score for, the music and lyrics for. And she just has the ability to cross genres in a way and maintain such a high level of lyric content that I would be, success would be standing in a room with her as like a semi-equal and asking her questions and being able to learn through her process. And then at kind of like the kind of end of the road of success, or like further down the road of success, I would love to write for bands that I feel are really rooted in a view of the world and a view of people that like I share. So my favorite band is Joseph, which is this trio from Joseph, Oregon, and they are 3 sisters. So right then, Zen, you will appreciate this just from like the musicality aspect. They have such a tonal quality to their voices that their harmonies are truly, I think, transcendent. But because they're related and you can tell they've grown up singing together, like their blend is just something that is, I heard it like once when I was in high school on like YouTube when they used to put those weird playlists together, and they were operating under this name called Dearborn. And I remember listening to their harmonies and being like, they are next level. And then they fizzled out, and then they popped up several years later under a new band name on those like iTunes free songs of the week.
Hell yeah.
And I downloaded one. I was like, oh, this looks interesting. Like the album name was called I'm Alone, No You're Not. And I was like, that's a cool album name. And I downloaded the song, not knowing what they looked like. And I played the song and I was like doing, I think, chem homework. And I immediately looked up and was like, I know those harmonies. Like that tonal quality and that harmony construction, like that Crosby, Stills and Nash type of like Americana harmony. I was like, I would know that from anywhere. They just released a new album. They have grown so much in their lyric ability because you can tell they're still growing as people, which I think makes music so successful and so relatable, is when the artist, you can tell, is kind of morphing as you are morphing as the listener. So I would, if they ever... I don't even know what I would say. Like, if I could sit in a room as their semi-equal and be like, which I do, I'd be like, this is how I have like ideas for lyrics and for songs. This is how I think we're compatible. This is how I think I can help you grow. If I'm putting on my big girl pants, that would be success for me, is to sit like in those types of situations and just to be able to try to do that.
Hell yeah.
It's a long-winded answer. But
I love it. That's great.
My Niles Crane t-shirt. Please tell me you watched Frasier growing up. No?
No.
No?
I've seen it. It popped on the...
Who, like, in your, like, audience is, like, above, let's see, it was in the 90s or something, like above 40?
Oh, all of our moms.
All of your moms are gonna know David Hyde Pierce and Niles Crane. He is one of the best characters in the history of television. I walked through Seattle because it takes place in Seattle wearing this t-shirt, and people that like toss the fish in the fish market were like, we love your Niles t-shirt, and I was like, I wore this specifically.
Pike's Place.
Yeah, it was like I wore this specifically for this day.
Hell yeah. There you go. I'd never seen it. Never.
It's okay. It's okay. Hopefully it'll be like someone comments on your video and is like, the girl wearing the Niles Crane t-shirt. I'll be like, we're friends.
Like, who's this fucking guy interviewing her?
3, 2, 1. No, I'm kidding.
What else do you have to say for the folks watching? Anybody out there?
Thanks for listening if you've made it this far, and I hope we've illuminated such a lovely conversation. I've had such a nice time. Thank you so much for inviting me on your podcast.
Thanks for coming over.
Anytime. I really do not mean to invite myself again, but this has been so fun.
We should do it again.
I'm ready to do some dares.
We'll do a nice, not a hot sauce challenge. That does sound fun.
The hot ones.
Like the hot ones?
It'd be fun to get...
Sean Evans
fun to get, like,
show up at the door and be like, oh,
cease and desist.
Yeah. we get a cease and desist order from Sean Evans. Yeah. Hi, welcome to, what was it? First We Feast. This is Sean Evans with Hot Ones here, where we ask the really tough questions while eating really tough wings. And now on the show we have Zen Perry. He's a musician out of Santa Cruz, California, and I think I don't have. Someone just give me a bald cap, and I'll pretend like I'm Sean.
I think you do that intro way better.
The best one, if you've ever seen, I don't know how many of the hot ones you've seen. The one with Aubrey Plaza.
That's great.
Is amazing. Oh my god, it's so good. When she's like listening and hears the like saxophone off in the distance, and she's like, if someone isn't playing the saxophone right now, I swear to God, I fell off my chair the first time I saw that. She's so good.
She's amazing.
She's so amazing.
Aubrey Plaza.
So good.
The best.
So good.
Hey,
Brilliant.
What else you had to say? Was that it? Is that all I had to say to people?
Well, thank you so much. I'm not very good at self-promotion. That's it. Please follow me on Spotify, Sammie Martin, Sammie. Martin is the way that it's spelt. I have music on Spotify and Apple Music. I ran out, honestly, because I was just endorphined out from running, so I didn't want to spell anymore. But please, follow me there. I do have social media and Instagram, Sammie Martin 13, where I post a lot of music content and a lot of stuff related to the causes I care about, and some really fun videos of my roommates and I just trying to just survive in Brooklyn, New York, you know?
In Brooklyn.
We're all struggling, but we all make
The
it.
Tri-City area.
The Tri-City, the world.
Yeah, the world.
Planet Earth.
Yeah, don't want to dox ourselves too much.
But
And thank you.